Hello, Olathe West. This is Mr. Flynn, and today we will be doing some ACT prep dealing with the math section. Now, something to remember is it will be a multiple choice test, and there will be 5 choices to choose from, and your pacing is usually right around 1 minute a question. And it seems like 1 minute is not a lot of time, but it's quite a bit of time to get some stuff done. Now, for freshmen, your test is over just pre-algebra and some algebra with a little bit of geometry and a little bit of probability in there. Sophomores, what they do is they add into your test some geometry and some more probability. Juniors, your test is over all of this. So they add in the Algebra 2 to your section. Now, there's some tips and tricks that you can kind of go through to help yourself out a little bit. First of all, you always want to eliminate answers that don't make sense, right? So if you're going to be coming down to guessing, at least if you can get rid of the things that, no, it can't be that, you have a better shot at getting the correct answer. Also, don't leave anything blank. If there's, say, 1 minute left on the test and you've got 10 questions left to do, mark them all the same letter. Choose a letter that you want to do. If you leave it blank, it will be marked wrong, but you might be able to pick up a couple correct answers just by doing a letter of the day. Also, don't waste your time showing your work. This is not math class. They are just grading the bubble. So we want you to get the answer and move on. Also, use your estimation skills. Figures are drawn to scale. So like in this picture here, that angle looks like it's 90 degrees. It is 90 degrees. Use that to your advantage. You get to use a calculator, so don't be afraid of using that. And then also draw a picture. Drawing a picture or label the one that's given to you, it'll help you understand the question better and not make very many mistakes. Let's go ahead and get started. Okay, the first technique I want to look at is that things are drawn to scale. On this question, we are trying to find how big that angle is with the question mark. It is drawn to scale, so what I could do is use a corner of a piece of paper and line it up and try to figure out, well, how much is that angle, right? I can use this to eliminate some choices. That angle appears to be bigger than 45 degrees, which means I could safely eliminate these 2 choices. And now I've increased the likelihood of getting it correct. Well, now let's do a little bit of math and figure out what the answer is of what's remaining. Well, this angle right here should add up to be 180 degrees because it's a straight line. So if I go ahead and take away the 45 from it, I will be left with 35 degrees here. Notice we eliminated the 35. So I'm kind of glad we eliminated the answers that couldn't be correct, so we won't fall for that mistake. Now, I do notice that this angle here is 90 degrees. Well, if this angle is 35, if I subtract that from 90, right, we will wind up with 55, which is the correct answer. So now what I want you to do is I want you to try this out, okay? So here's a question. I'd like for you to try out the answer. Okay, so the first thing I should think about is drawn to scale. If I use the corner of a piece of paper, I will see that that angle is definitely bigger than 45. In fact, it's bigger than 50. I'm not sure about 60, 70, or 80, but I'm pretty confident it's one of those choices. Now then, we've got to figure out what the answer is. Well, in the reading, they tell us that OC bisects. So if something gets bisected, it means that these 2 angles are going to be exactly the same. That's what bisected means. Now looking at the problem, we know that all the way across here forms a straight line, so it makes 180 degrees. If I subtract out the 40 degrees that were given there, we have 140. And again, it said it was bisected, right? So that means that each of these angles must be 70. And if this angle is 70, then so is this one because they are vertical angles. Answer is letter J. Okay, let's go on to another idea, probability. Probability basically boils down to finding your target divided by the total amount. Sometimes what makes it easier to do is to actually write out all the things that we have. For example, we're told we have 4 marbles numbered 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm just going to go red 1, red 2, red 3, red 4. There's 4 red marbles numbered 1 through 4. And then we have 3 black marbles numbered 1, 2, and 3. Okay, now the question says, what's the probability that the marble selected will be an odd numbered red marble? So how many red marbles are odd? I believe there's 2 of them, so that's our target, 2. How many total marbles are there? If I add up all these things, there are a total of 7. So our answer is 2/7, letter B. Okay, now you work out this question. All right, same thing as before. I'm going to write out all that I have. Like I have 3 red marbles. I have 5 white marbles. 4 black marbles. And 1 yellow marble. They want to know the probability of selecting a marble that is not black. So it's all the other colors. Well, if I think about target over total, the total amount, if I were to add up all the marbles that we have here, there's a total of 13 marbles. How many of them are not black? Well, the reds, the whites, the yellows, that is a total of 9. So 9 over 13, letter D. Probability, right? Okay, another topic that we have here, Pythagorean theorem. Remember this, c squared equals a squared plus b squared. Just remember, C is opposite the right angle. That's the remember. So on this question, it's question number 31. We're trying to figure out what's the length of the hypotenuse. That's this side right here. How long is this side? Well, I believe the height is 30, right? We see it. The length is 40, we see it. So I could do Pythagorean theorem and then solve the problem. And I would hope you'd be using your calculator to figure this stuff out. And then when we take the square root, we're going to get 50, which is letter D. But again, remember, you get to use your calculator on this test, so please use that. Your turn. Work this one out. Okay, it's Pythagorean theorem again. So I know that this is the side I don't know, and it's opposite the right angle. So I know my Pythagorean theorem's got to be this. Now, before we go on further, remember, we should always try to get rid of answers that don't make any sense. Like if this side is 8 and this side is 3, I don't believe that 73 could be the length of the other side. Similarly, if I use my calculator for the square root of 22, I get 4.7. This side that's x, it's got to be bigger than 8. So I know it can't be this one. Square root of 55, that's like 7.4. That's not bigger than 8 either. Okay? So we kind of get it down to 2 choices here. We could also eliminate D as well, because for this side here to be 11 and this is 8 and 3, that would be a really interesting looking triangle. But if we do our math now, we think that the answer should be letter C just by elimination. Sure enough, it is. Okay, let's go through some more here. Another topic that you would see on this test would be trigonometry. And all you have to remember is the acronym SOHCAHTOA, figuring out what's what, right? So on this one, if I were to figure out the sine of angle A, here's angle A right here. Sine is this. It's opposite. So what's opposite of A? 8 over the hypotenuse, which is 17. So number 12 should be 8 over 17, or choice F. Okay, SOHCAHTOA. You work this one out. All right, we're trying to find the sine of B. Notice it's a capital B, right? The angle right here. Now sine is opposite, so it's opposite of the B, that one. And then what's the hypotenuse? C. So we're looking for B over C, which is choice B. Okay, the ACT also has just some good old-fashioned algebra here, right? So we would distribute the 8, right, and get 8x plus 16. Distribute the negative 2, so be careful with that. It becomes plus 6, right? And now if we combine like terms, I believe these will combine to be 2x. And then I'd probably subtract 2x from both sides. That would give me 6x here. I'd probably subtract 16. And so we would get negative 10 over 6, which I do not see, but I do see the reduced form of the answer, negative 5/3. We're set there with number 9. Okay, your turn. Work this one out. All right, well, to work this one out, I think we would distribute here. And probably collect these like terms. And then I'd add 24 to both sides. Now on the ACT, don't show all this work, right? I'm showing it to kind of make sure you know what's going on. Divide by 3, and I think we get our answer, letter J, 16. Okay, one last idea here. Absolute values, right? Remember, the absolute value of something means how far from 0 are you? So if I'm over here at negative 7, how far from 0 am I? I'm 7 away. If this was a positive 7 is also 7 away. So it's asking for how far away from 0 are you? Well, how far is negative 4 from 0? I think 4. Now here we have 6 minus 29, which would be negative 23. So here's where some mistakes can happen. Bring down the subtraction sign. Okay, what's the absolute value of negative 23? It is 23. And now we have 4 minus 23, which is negative 19. Choice C. Okay? Don't fall for the mistake of having a negative becoming positive. This is absolute value here. Be careful with that. Okay, last one, your turn right here. Give it a go. Okay, so if we do what's in the parentheses and absolute values first, I believe those combine to be negative 7. And I think these combine to be 7. Well, the absolute value of negative 7 is 7. And I think when I multiply those, I get minus 21. 2 times 7 is 14. 14 minus 21 is negative 7. Choice E. Before we finish, I do want to show you that this last question here, you can type it directly into your calculator, right? I can type in 2, and then I need to get the absolute value symbol, which the quick way to get it is alpha, window, choose the first choice. Oops, 2 minus 9. And then on the outside, I believe we had subtract 3, parentheses, 5 plus 2. And you can see we get the same answer, right? So you could just directly type this into the calculator and get the result also. Okay, hopefully some of these techniques were very helpful to you as you prepare for your practice ACT work in October. Please remember these ideas, right? Eliminating answers. Don't leave anything blank. Don't show your work. Things are drawn to scale. Use a calculator and draw a picture. Thank you so much for your time.